Hello, Year 2. How are you? Have you been practicing your text map? I hope so. Remember, it's really crucial that you get the structure of the diary in your head so that when we come to adapt the text and you make your own, you really know what the language is and how it should sound like. This will mean that you'll be able to make amazing vocabulary choices and amazing grammar choices to make the text your own, and you'll end up with an amazing piece of work. But for today, we're going to have a look at something different. Let's have a look. So today we're going to have a look at comparing the difference between a diary and a story. We're going to look at what's the same about them and what's different. So here is the story of A Squash and a Squeeze written in rhyming verse. A little old lady lived all by herself, with a table and chairs and a jug on a shelf. A wise old man heard her grumble and grouse. "Oh, there's not enough room in my house. Wise old man, won't you help me, please? My house is a squash and a squeeze." "Take in your hen," said the wise old man. "Take in my hen? What a curious plan." Well, the hen laid the egg on the fireside rug and flapped round the room, knocking over a jug. The little old lady cried, "What shall I do? It was pokey for one and it's teeny for two. My nose has a tickle and there's no room to sneeze. My house is a squash and a squeeze." And she said, "Wise old man, won't you help me, please? My house is a squash and a squeeze." Now, I just want you to take a minute and pause the video and see if you can have a think about what are the features of the story. What do you notice about it? Write them down, and then I'm going to have a talk about what I noticed in a minute. Pause the video now and make some notes. So while looking at the story, some of the things that I noticed are that, first of all, the first thing that popped out for me is they have words that rhyme. So herself and shelf, grouse, house, please, squeeze. They're all words that rhyme. It's a story written in rhyming verse. Now, it also follows a particular structure and a plot. So there's something that is going wrong. She takes in her hen, she takes in the goat, she takes in the pig, she takes in the cow, and then she throws them all out again and it's all okay. It's a structure, it's a plot. Now, within that structure and plot, there is conflict at the beginning. The little old lady is grumpy and grousing. She's angry that she's not got enough room. However, at the end, this is resolved by her realization that actually, for just herself, she has got enough room. Now, there's also a setting. Her little small holding is the setting to this story. So she's got her little house, so she's got a little kind of farm, but you call it a small holding, where she has her animals and grows her vegetables. There's a setting to the story. Now, I don't know if you can see that one, but it says illustrations. There are pictures. Axel Scheffler has drawn some wonderful illustrations to this story written in rhyming verse. It also has a title and an author, and it has main characters. So this is a fictional story, and there are the main characters. So these are all the things that stood out for me with A Squash and a Squeeze. I wonder if you got any of them. Let's have a read of it. Dear Diary, today was such a strange day. An old man visited our house because our owner was moaning and moaning about how tiny it was. First of all, he told her to let me go in the house. I couldn't believe it. I went straight onto the rug and laid an egg, then I accidentally knocked a jug off the shelf. Whoops. After that, she was still moaning, so he told her to take in her goat. Well, I just thought that was ridiculous. He didn't want to go in at first, but when he did, he chewed the curtains and trod on my egg. Finally, when he calmed down, he sat next to the table. and as he was chewing the leg, I got to eat all of the yummy fleas off his fur. I thought she'd have learnt her lesson by now, but no, she was still moaning, so the old man told her to take in her pig. Well, the pig had the time of his life. First, he chased me around the house, and then he sat and ate all of the food in the larder. Finally, the weird old man told her to let the cow come in. So, the first thing that jumps out to me is that there are some similarities with the Squash and the Squeeze story. There are words, there is grammar, punctuation, the sentences are grammatically correct, there are sentences, there's a range of sentences, there's question marks, there's full stops for statements, there's exclamation. However, there are quite a few differences. So when you're looking at the features of a diary, I'd just like you to pause the video for a minute and see if you notice any differences. It might help if you compare me reading the diary to reading the story. What do you notice? Pause the video now and jot down some ideas. How did you get on? So I noticed a few things about the diary. First of all, I noticed that it's all in past tense. It's something that's already happened. I also noticed that it uses quite informal language. Now, normally when we do writing in school, we use quite formal language, particularly if we're writing letters, for example. However, there are sentences here which are very informal. Well, I just thought that was ridiculous. I'd have thought she'd have learnt her lesson by now, but no. There's very friendly, informal language in a diary. I also noticed that this was the opinion of the hen. It wasn't the opinion of the goat or the pig or the old lady. It was specifically about what the hen was seeing, about what the hen thought. The hen thought that it was ridiculous. The hen couldn't believe it that he got to go in the house. So when looking at this diary, I realised that everything that is written is from the point of view of the hen. I also noticed that the hen is describing its thoughts and feelings. So in this situation, we're imagining that the hen is the writer. So, for example, when it goes, whoops, that's its thoughts, that's its feelings. I couldn't believe it. I thought it was ridiculous. So it's really apparent when in the diary that we're talking about the hen's thoughts and feelings, not the old ladies, not the pigs, not the cows, specifically the hen's thoughts and feelings about what was going off at the time. I also noticed that the events are organised into paragraphs. So first of all, the old man tells the hen to go in, then the goat, then we look at the cow and the pig, then they all go out again. The events are organised in a specific order and into separate paragraphs. And like I've just said, it's in chronological order. So the diary starts at the beginning of the day, it goes through the events in the order that happened, and then it finishes with the end, with them all being thrown out of the house. So it's in time order, it's in chronological order. This is really important because if you were writing a diary for yourself, you wouldn't start with, and then I went to bed, then I got up for breakfast, then we went to the theme park, then I got dressed and brushed my teeth. It just wouldn't make sense. You do things in the order that they happened. And finally, a little bit like I've said about the writer's thoughts and feelings and opinion, it specifically describes things from the author's point of view. So this isn't necessarily factual, it's opinion. It's about events that have happened, but it is specifically from the point of view of the author. And that's something that you have to bear in mind when you're reading it, because one person might view a situation completely differently to another person. So even though you're talking about something factual that happened, you can have a different take on that. Now that we've spoken about the similarities and differences, your task for today is to complete a Venn diagram. Now, I know in 8th class you will have completed one of these, but just as a reminder for if you haven't in Mango, or if you're new to the school, or if you've forgotten, a Venn diagram basically lets you sort out everything that we've spoken about into 2 circles. So everything that is just to do with the story will go in here. So for example, rhyming verse. Everything that is to do with the diary will go in here. So it's all about the hen's point of view. However, anything that they both share, for example, words, punctuation, grammar, will go in the middle because they both have them. Your task for today is to complete your Venn diagram. If you need to go back and look at what we discussed, you absolutely can do. And if you came up with anything else that you noticed, but you think is accurate, then put those in too. The main thing about this task is just getting you to think about what the author will have been thinking about when writing these texts. I hope you can see that the story in rhyming verse is really quite different to the diary entry. Thinking about these things will ultimately make you a better writer. As you go through school and you have to think about different genres that you're writing, knowing about what makes a good diary and what makes a good story is really crucial to that. Because as long as you stick to those features, you ultimately will have a better piece of writing. I hope you enjoyed today's task, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow to introduce our grammar objective. But for now, have a lovely day. Bye.